Hi parents, trying this again. Sorry my connection was bad for a minute. I'm Catherine Fischer and I'm a certified hand-in-hand parenting instructor in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And today I'm going to talk with you about how we can respond when our children behave aggressively. I have been there as a parent whose child acted aggressive sometimes, and I've been there as a parent watching my child get hurt by other kids. And I know how upsetting it can be and how we can worry about our own parenting, and we can worry about our kids and whether they're becoming violent. So I just want to reassure you that your kids are completely good and their behavior is not a sign that you're a bad parent. But there are ways that we can respond to aggressive behavior that will help our kids offload the feelings that are driving that behavior. If you're here, chances are you may have already tried lecturing, reminding them, telling them that that's not what we do. You might have tried timeout. You may even have gotten triggered and yelled at your kid or even hit them, which clearly doesn't help them learn not to hit. The main thing to keep in mind going forward is that when kids act aggressive, it's because they are feeling disconnected and probably they are feeling frightened. And it may not seem to make sense in the moment, but you can trust that there's something there driving that behavior. And if you are getting really triggered, it's going to really help if you can find a listening partner to talk to about what would have happened to you if you had acted the way your child is acting, what your child's behavior reminds you of in your own childhood, and just to offload how upsetting it is. And then it also helps if you can take a look and see if there are particular times where your child's likely to lash out. Sometimes you can find a pattern. So if it's an ongoing problem in your family, I would suggest taking time to do those two things first. But I also want to give you a little demonstration about how we can respond when our kids are being aggressive. So let's say that you're in the living room and your older child is playing, say, blocks or something, building something with multiple parts, and the younger sibling comes up and gets involved and either messes it up or somehow the older child gets upset and is ready to hit the younger child. So you can see that coming, hopefully, and if you're there, you can just catch the hand or catch the block before it gets thrown. And all you need to say is, "Oh, sweetheart, I can't let you hurt your sister. I'll stay here. I'm sorry it's hard." And meanwhile, your child might be fighting you. They might try to hit you, and in which case you can still catch the hand and say, "Oh, sweetheart, I'm going to keep everybody safe. I'm sorry it feels so hard." And if there's if there's another child, sometimes you can even just keep the other child in the circle of connection with an arm around them. If the upset child is being too forceful and you need to move the other away from the first child to keep them safe, then go ahead and do that. So you want to stop the behavior gently with connection, and then you want to use the tool stay listening. And their feelings will come out. "I hate her, she ruins everything." "Oh, I know you love your sister, honey, and I know it's hard. I know it's hard to be the big sister. I'll stay with you. I'll keep everybody safe." And you don't need to say much, just maybe 80% listening, 20% talking. And so I'll keep us all safe is a good thing to say. I'm sorry it feels so hard. We'll get through this. We're going to have a good day, so they know that you're not mad at them. And just telling them that you love them. So if anyone has any questions about your specific situation, I'd love to hear. Let's see if anybody, I can tell. Feel free to type it in. Sorry, I just made my screen go away a little bit. Does anyone want to type in a question about, I know things can be so different and sometimes we don't get there in time, and then the thing to do then, if you aren't there in time before someone gets hurt, is to remember that both kids are hurting. The child who's feeling scared and who lashed out is hurting and probably feels bad and does feel bad even if they aren't showing it. And then of course the child who's hurt needs your attention. And so you can try and be there for both of them. And if you need to go back and forth, you can do that. Do you remove the angry child to stay listen? I don't think, generally you don't need to, unless you need to be somewhere else for safety, or if they're going to say something so harsh about the other child that is better for the other child not to hear it. But generally, if you're listening and kind of repeating your own thinking and reassuring, it's not going to be too hard on the other child to listen. Let's see. And then Aubrey says, what do you do if toys are being thrown and they aren't calming down? Hold them until they are calm. I'm never sure when to let them go. So if toys are being thrown, yeah, definitely, Aubrey, you want to stop that, and you want to use the least amount of force possible. So if you can do it by holding the hand that has the toy that they want to throw, and just hold it and say, I'm just going to stay with you. I know that you want to throw that, but I can't let you. And then I guess if it just keeps, if they keep grabbing things, you might want to move a little further away so they can't reach the things and can just let the feelings out. And then, you want to just let go when you think maybe they're ready, but you don't need to say like, okay, I'm going to let you go and let's see if you can handle this now. Like you're just checking in your own mind. You don't need to tell them that. And then you can just kind of go back and forth between holding that limit and not letting them throw things, and then giving them a break to see if they're ready. Sometimes those big upsets, those big tantrums are like naps, like sleep cycles where they kind of peak and then they go down and then they come back again. So don't be surprised if there's like several waves of it. And Claire says there's a separation happening and the boys are 7 and 11 and very angry. Yeah, sure. I'm sorry that's happening. I think just adding in that special time, if you know that tool, or you can look it up, so that they're getting one-on-one attention, making sure, Claire, that you're getting listened to for all your feelings about this, stressful time. And then playing. So one thing that I'm not going to talk a lot about today, but can be sort of the next step once you learn how to intervene without your own upset when a child is being aggressive, is to turn it playful. It's not going to teach them that it's fine to do that. It's actually just going to let those fears out. So chasing, pillow fighting is great. If you're the one that they can whack with the pillow and you can barely catch them, or you chase them all around, that might be a good one for the slightly older boys. And when the 7-year-old has a meltdown, it's destructive. Yeah, so you just want to be as gentle as you can, bringing connection when he's on that path to becoming destructive, looking for those moments where is likely to happen, and trying to be there so you can catch it before he damages anything or hurts anyone else or himself. And then again, all these tools, all the hand-in-hand tools work so well if you can use them all. So making sure you have special time and adding as much laughter into your day as you can will really help. And then Eleanor says, her daughter is an only child. She has sensory processing difficulties. A lot of her frustration is taken out on the parents. When she's lashing out at us, she won't let us near her. We've tried emotion coaching. Oops. Sorry. So yeah, you can, not sure what's happening with the camera, sorry. Let's see, did I turn it? I must have turned it. Yeah, sorry, now you're seeing the wall. Let's see how I can get this back. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. If your child doesn't want you near her, but she's not damaging things or hurting anyone, you can still reach for that connection from a distance. Like I used to sometimes when my son was really mad, I would be on the other side of his bedroom door knocking, can I come in yet? I'm still out here. I really miss you. Can I come in now? So I don't know if that's possible with what she's doing, but that would be one other approach. Or, just sometimes you do just have to have your arms around them, and sometimes the feelings are so strong that there's fighting and they're really working on some deep terror, and it's a really big fight for them. And that challenge, trying to figure out like whether it's a sensory issue or whether they are offloading, is something that I think parents just have to just work on to figure out the difference. Okay. Oh, I did it again. Okay. Oh, sorry, you guys. I love your questions. I'm not sure why I keep turning it around. Okay. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so Eleanor, when someone's being destructive, we need to gently stop it and just help keep it from happening. I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but I kind of talked about that. And Christina says, when a child is aggressive, does it mean that she will become an aggressive adult? And I think definitely not. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the wall off. I don't know if the wall's on your photo. Anyway, I'll just keep talking. No, it doesn't mean that they will become an aggressive adult. It means really that they're signaling for connection with you. And so when we are able to reconnect with them when they're being aggressive and help them and be with them while they offload the fear that's driving that aggressive behavior, that's going to help them end their aggressive behavior. And depending on what the fears are and where they come from, it might be sort of a project that takes time, but definitely doesn't mean that your child's going to be aggressive later. And this is a great way to intervene so that that doesn't happen. Okay. Let's see. Noelle says, I tried to hold my boy, arms around him when he's really mad, but he thinks what I'm doing is like locking him up and he tries to break free. Do I let him go, or should I insist on having my arms around him? That's a really good question, Noelle, and I think it's one that you are going to have to experiment with. Like I said earlier, you want to use the minimum amount of I'm sorry. Okay, now I see what I did. Okay, you want to use the minimum amount of force. So you can try letting them go if they ask for that. But then if they're not reconnected yet, they're going to keep the aggressive behavior going. They're going to let you know that they need you to connect with them physically. And sometimes if a child is really struggling with that and you're not sure, if you can look into the vigorous snuggle, which is where you're like, oh, I can't believe you just did that. What are you doing? And just, sort of, you connect with them really vigorously, and it's sort of a way in past the anger and lets them start to laugh. And then sometimes they can handle the touch better. But sometimes they need to have that fight. And but that's going to depend on whether you feel comfortable that it's the right thing, whether you can stay calm and listening and confident that it's the right thing. So I know that's sort of an advanced question that you probably would work on in a class with an instructor. But I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea. Okay. Any other questions? We have a few more minutes. Okay. Oh, great. Now I see more questions. Okay. When you can't stay calm yourself. Oh, Claire, I have so been there. Well, I think going back to what I said at the start, where if this is an ongoing issue in your family, you probably have your own feelings built up about it, plus whatever feelings that get triggered for you about your own experience of aggression. So listening partnerships for you outside of the times when your kids are acting this way will help you stay more calm. But it's better not to try and stay listen when you're upset, because they can tell, and they aren't going to feel the connection that they need if we're upset. So sometimes you can just say, like, if you need to give yourself a timeout, if things are safe enough for the kids, just say, sweetheart, I love you and I want to help, and I'm going to go take care of my own feelings for just a few minutes, and I'll be right back to be with you again. And I know you can't always do that, but sometimes that's an option. And another sort of emergency tool when things are going nuts and we are getting really, really worked up and angry ourselves, is just to lie down on the floor. And that might sound kind of wacky, but it totally changes the dynamic. And sometimes it can help us stop yelling. And sometimes our kids just become so interested in what we're doing that it kind of gets them out of what they're into, and they come play with us while we're on the floor. But there's no perfect answer for when we can't stay calm. It's just something we have to work on in our listening partnerships, and take breaks when we need to. Aubrey, is it best to avoid situations that are consistent triggers for kids, like playing with more than one child, going to a play space where I can't be right by him physically to stop the behavior? Oops. Sorry, I can't pull up the rest of the comment, but I think Probably not. Probably more you want to, I mean, you might want to cut down on them while you're working on this, helping your son with the aggressive behavior. But you don't need to avoid them because that's not going to help him get better. But sometimes special time before those stressful events can help a little bit. And other times just knowing that you need to be by them. So maybe the play area, where you can't be right with them. Yeah, maybe you avoid that for a while until some of these fears are kind of have a chance to come out in other situations where you can be with him. When a child has an object that they are using to hurt others and you need to take it away, is there some words you can suggest saying before you take it away? I tell them never to grab. Got it. Yeah, that's good. Well, if you can, what we want to do is bring the limit and stay with them while they have the feelings. So you may not need to physically take it away. If you're going to try and stay listening with them, you can just put your hand on it and say, I'm right here, sweetheart. I can't let you hurt anybody. I can't let you throw that. And if they start offloading their feelings, they may not care anymore about holding that thing. You may be able to set it aside. But in that first moment where you're bringing the limit, if you focus on taking it away, it turns into a power struggle, and that's not really worth it. That's not going to get you where you want to go. So if you can just gently hold it with them, then you don't have to pull it out of their hands. And eventually they're going to be so focused on their own feelings that setting it aside probably won't be an issue. How do you address anger or frustration that is due to sibling rivalry? Most of the issues seem to stem from each of them competing for my attention, even with things as simple as I'm sorry, I can't read the rest, but I think I have the gist. So sibling rivalry, some of the best ways to help get those feelings out are games that let them team up against you, and special time where you spend time with each child. So you'll be addressing the aggression when it comes up, but probably these other things, these other ways of playing and paying attention are going to be the things that help to relieve that sibling rivalry. Jana, thanks for all the great articles you're sharing. Oh my goodness, every time I try to move the questions up, I turn the screen around, so sorry about that. I think we still have a couple more minutes if anyone has one or two last questions. I really appreciate your time here listening, and I hope some of this has been helpful. I know it's so hard, and I know you're all working really hard and doing your best, and I'm glad you were able to make time to be here today. For people who are local in Ann Arbor, I do have another starter class coming up, and I also teach Understanding Tears and Tantrums at First Steps Ann Arbor. Thank you guys, and really check out the website at handinhandparenting.org. There's so many articles. If you search the topic of aggression, there's a lot of great resources. So thanks again for being here, and I hope to connect with you again soon. Bye-bye.